Have you ever wondered what the S meter reading is on your radio? What the dBm figure is here on the waterfall and how they all relate? Well, today I'm going to try and explain it in this video. The S meter reading is the signal strength of the received station, and that's related to the amount of power picked up at the antenna input of the radio. This signal strength meter here on this radio, Expert SDR, it's got a level there in dBm, which is dB relative to 1 milliwatt. I'll go into a bit more of what that means in a minute. And then the S number here is the signal strength, which is used by ham radio operators. It's just a convention. There's no real meaning behind this, but there is a definition of how many dBm this signal strength relates to each S meter reading, and some radios do that better than others. Now this is the radio connected to a dummy load, so you can see there on my Panadapter I'm still getting a bit of signal being picked up. That's not unusual, that's because there's a very strong signal on that band, and the antenna's connected to the same box with a relay in it, and I'm switching into the dummy load. But basically there's no input now on the radio, and we've got a 50 ohm load switched across the output, and this number here, which I just move this crosshair across, we've got about minus 122.1 dBm, that's saying. So that's the noise floor of my radio. This S meter reading, you can see there, is saying minus 104 point something. It's flipping around a little bit, but dBm, and that's corresponding to S4. That's what that's telling us. So I'm a bit confused straight away, because that says minus 105 S4. Well, this level here is minus 122 point something, you know, minus 122, minus 105. What on earth is going on there? The S meter reading and this waterfall are related, and in quite a simple way. I'm not going to go into all the maths of this. There's plenty of places on the internet and articles you can read which cover it all, but I'm going to demonstrate what happens practically here. There's my 3 kHz standard bandwidth that I use on sideband. We've got minus 105 dBm S4. If I go down to 1.5 kHz, there we are, roughly 1.5 kHz. Then if you saw that there, minus 1.469. I'm ignoring this. Actually, let me put this 70 Hz in at the bottom. There we go. So now that's properly 1.5 kHz. Let's go back out to 3. That's roughly kind of 0 to 3 kHz. Not made much difference at 70 Hz. Minus 104.5 dBm. Go to 1.5. Roughly. We've got minus 108 dBm. So back to 3. Minus 104.8. Minus 107.8. 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 3 dBs of difference. Now 3 dBs is double. So we've got double the power, which makes sense. We've doubled the bandwidth. We've now got double the amount of power being detected in the system. So this band scope here is doing the same thing, okay, but the band scope is split into lots and lots of vertical lines, which are called bins, and the software does a thing called a fast Fourier transform to compute the amount of power at each one of these frequencies or bins, little slices in this waterfall or Panadapter display, and it computes the power, and that's showing us how many dBm is in each slice, basically. So if I now go into the options, I'm just going to have a look at the display, and we've got spectrum, waterfall, well, spectrum. So FFT size 16384. Okay, it's doing 15 averages, and it's displaying a new waterfall spectrum every 15 milliseconds. So 16384. So I think that means on the screen there will be 16,384 slices that we're seeing. That might not be quite right, depends on how they've implemented the FFT size to the number of bins, but it's not so important exactly what size they are. Not for this demonstration anyway. So if I change that to 8192, so that's half the number of bins, I'd expect the power in each one to double. So see if I can show you on each display. So there we've still got our 122.4 dBm. I'm going to switch down to 8192. There we go, do you see that? Now we've got 119.7. Let's go back. 122.4, something like that. There's about 3 dBs of difference, which is double the power, which makes sense because we're doubling the slice. So going back to the S meter reading then, if I could make this bandwidth here the same size as one bin, it would measure the same. Now unfortunately I don't think I can do that. Well, there I'm going down to very low. Let me get rid of this 70 Hz again. Let's see how low I can go down to. 10 Hz. It's not bad at all. So 10 Hz, minus 120 dBm. It's getting down towards there, isn't it? So we know it's smaller than 10 Hz. So I'm now happy I've got some idea now of what this S meter reading's doing and what the waterfall means. So what do all these S numbers actually mean? What are they doing? Well, there's a definition for all of these, and S9 is defined as minus 73 dBm for this frequency. So the ITU in the region I'm in, region 1, have a recommendation, and it says on HF, which is 30 megahertz and below, minus 73 dBm corresponds to S9. I've now disconnected the dummy load and I've attached a signal generator, and that signal generator's creating a signal just here at 7.1 megahertz exactly, it should be. I've just switched it on and it's warming up, so it might drift slightly. And I've got the signal generator set to minus 73 dBm. The SDR's picking that up as minus 74.2 dBm. I'm just going to narrow down the filter width, see if that gets any closer. Probably won't make much difference, no. So there's a small error in something, either the SDR or the signal generator. I think it's the SDR, the signal generator should be very accurate, but you know, could be 1 dBm out, not impossible. Now what happens now is every S point here going down is another 6 dBs lower. So for every 6 dBs I move the signal generator, we should get a lower S point number. So let me try that. So there we are. That's 6 dBs lower on the signal generator. We're at S8, another 6. S7, another 6. Now at minus 91 dBms we've got an S6. Another 6 dBs, we've got an S5. Minus 103 dBm, S4. minus 109. Oh, still about an S4. Right, so now we're getting towards the noise floor of the radio. If I keep winding this down, keep winding it down a bit lower. Okay, we're getting to an S3, but we're hitting the noise floor of the radio, so we can't measure any lower than that. I've now turned the signal generator off, and there we are. We've got our S3 as the noise floor. I'll just go back to S9. We are minus 73 dBm on the signal generator, S9. So going up on the S meter display here, we've got plus 20, plus 40, that's plus 10, that little D10 there in the middle. So what that means is that's the number of dBs over 9 being displayed. So if I go 10 dBs up from minus 73, which would take us to minus 63 dBm, we should have a 10 over 9 indication. There we are, minus 63, 10 over 9. Another 10. 53, 20 over 9. Another 10. Another 10. Another 10. Where are we now? 50 over. Now we can see here the skirts are just starting to widen out now on the radio. Well, that's an error inside the radio. That'll be due to phase jitter and other effects inside, which is starting to cause the frequency actually being received just to spread out across the waterfall and up the noise floor. So this is getting to the limits now where the receiver's very effective in this radio. I'll just take it up to plus 60. There you go, minus 13 dBm. That's quite a strong signal. You can see the receiver's a little way from that still working, but if you were trying to pick up signals close by, they'd start to be swamped. Hopefully that gives you a good idea of how the S meter reading corresponds to the signal strength in dBm at the radio. What this video hasn't covered though is the effect of the antenna and the feeder. If the antenna's got some gain, then more power will reach the radio for the same signal strength in the area. Unfortunately, not all amateur radios have their S meters calibrated, so trying to get a good comparison with another station is very difficult. If they do have an SDR, then typically these are very accurate and you can rely on the reading that they give you. So what use is the S meter reading? Well, that's the subject of another video. Thanks very much for watching, and please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video.